Troubleshooting Cisco IP networks. That's what we're here to discuss. My name is Chris Avance, and I'm going to be your instructor throughout this entire series. So let's begin. Like I said, hopefully you're here for troubleshooting Cisco IP networks and maintaining Cisco IP networks for exam number 642-832. This is the final exam in Cisco's coveted CCNP certification. That is a professional level certification and one of the most sought after certifications in the IT industry altogether. It carries a ton of weight behind it. The requirements to achieve it is very, very high. There's lots of topics, lots of theory, lots of acronym. I mean, you know, this should be your final step. So you know everything I'm mentioning right now. What you should have before you're here, and I just want to point this out. You should definitely have a CCNA certification and completed the CCNA exam curriculum, or have that level of understanding. If you're here for certification though, which it's very, 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 very rare, I find people in this course that's not here for certification. So I'm going to assume that you are. You should definitely have a valid CCNA and also have completed the route material from a course, the CCNP route curriculum, exam number 642-902, and also the switch curriculum from the CCNP certification. The reason is because this exam builds on all of those fundamentals, the CCNA, the switch, and the route. I don't care which order you take those in, and if you haven't taken all the exams yet, but you've taken the courses, maybe you've taken the switch course that I have here and the route course that Scott Smith has here, that's completely fine. And you haven't taken the exams yet, I promise you if you take these courses and you do the studying we recommend, we will get you through the CCNP certification. I promise you. But you have to have those to really kind of gain anything from this course. If you don't have fundamental understandings of all the core topics, EIGRP, OSPF, route redistribution, IPv6, BGP, all of those things, multi-layer switching, VLANs, trunking, ISL, 802.1q, I could spit off 2,000 acronyms and probably still not cover the foundational knowledge that is required to kind of jump in with both the head first into TSHOOT, okay? TSHOOT is one of those courses. It's looked at as one of those I don't want to say bad omen, but just kind of the monster to beat, right? So if you're looking at gaining the CCNP, which I know you are, everybody's like, okay, make sure you do switch and route first, and those are going to be complex, but then TSHOOT's the monster, right? Whenever I originally did the CCNP certification, I don't remember a specific monster jumping out at me the way that TSHOOT jumps out at people now. And Cisco just keeps raising the bar to gain these certifications. And that's a great thing. That's a great thing for you. I say it in every course that I do because it makes sure that the people who, it sets us apart, right? We complete what few others dare to attempt in the first place. So that's what sets you apart in the industry. But long story short, TSHOOT is challenging. I have seen people that have CCIEs in other areas of Cisco go to get their CCNP and route switch and have a lot of problems with the TSHOOT lab. I've even seen people that, I know one guy in fact who is a CCNP route switch from years ago who took the TSHOOT exam to, I'm not sure why he took it, to renew certs. I have no idea why he took it. I just know he took it and said it was extremely, extremely challenging. That should tell you something, okay? So with that being said, we're going to prepare you for it. The only way I can honestly prepare you for it, though, is to make sure that you have those fundamental topics which we talked about right here. So have been through the route and switch curriculum. I don't care which order, as long as you've done it. And, of course, have a CCNA. If you want to earn the CCNP certification, you also have to have passed those exams, and your CCNA needs to be valid. A little bit about myself. I have been teaching Cisco for several years, about 6 years now. I have been working with Cisco as a field engineer, as a subject matter expert, as a design engineer, as a consulting engineer, as a tech, I mean, pretty much every role you could think of with the Cisco brand around it or designation around it, I've done it at one time or another, and it's been a major part of my life since I was 17 years old. And that would be a big thing, except for nowadays they're shipping kids out of high school with these certifications. So anyway, I got my first Cisco certification right around my 18th birthday, along with my MCSE, and I haven't looked back since. So I've got about 30 certifications from Cisco, about 4 professional level certifications, and also I have not set a CCIE lab yet. I have set another Cisco lab that's very difficult, and I did knock that out on the first exam, on the first attempt. I've taken the CCIE route switch written, and I plan on sitting the lab finally this year. Have no idea don't ask me why I haven't done it yet. I've helped many, many people gain their CCIEs, and if you want to go that far, hopefully through the CCNP curriculum, we help you too, right? So anyway, a little bit about the exam, the test. The official score to pass is not published, but we know that for any certification, usually Cisco wants you to be a high B. They're pretty much, they want A-B people only, right? So, so with that being said, you get 300 points for showing up, right? So it's up to 1,000 and 300 points just for walking in the door. So for them to say, oh, you need to be somewhere in the 800s is not a, not a huge thing, right? I'm not selling it short, but it's not, it's definitely challenging. We'll just put it that way. But they do give you some points for showing up, and that doesn't make it any easier, of course. All right, the time to pass this particular exam, well, here's the thing, and I did want to make a special note about this. It's 135 minutes. One thing that's different about TSHOOT versus any of the other Cisco courses, you did labs in route. You did labs in switch. I know because it says it on the curriculum, and I've been through it before. I'm not going to disclose any exam information, but you did them. TSHOOT though is much, much different. TSHOOT, you do, where the other courses may have been 70% theory, 30% lab, or 60-40. This one is, more like, and I'm just throwing this out there, 10% Q&A, 90% labs and scenarios, right? All about troubleshooting and maintenance. So it's much, much more complex for most people than the other ones, because you need the hands-on experience. You need to have time behind the wheel. And so if you've done the my CCNA and my switch course, and there's so many other people out there that if you've done theirs too, they would be preaching ways to do labs and get that hands-on time, even if you're not a Cisco engineer currently. And I'm going to do that as well throughout this course, tell you how to get that experience, but you got to have it. I mean, that's bottom line. You will not pass unless you have hands-on time. Read all the books in your world, know all the theory you want. You could have a PhD in theory, but if you don't have the hands-on time, you're not going to complete it. The other thing is if English is not your native language, okay, for those of you out there who English is not your native language, you can request, you can let them know that it's not, and they will give you a 30-minute extension on the exam. So, I'm going to say that again. If English is not your native language, you can get yourself an extra 30 minutes on this exam. That's a big deal. So, Cisco makes it clear this is a test of hands-on skills and not just wits, right? You need both, but this is also going to be understanding a theory, understanding a model, a topology, and being able to know all the working components of it and quickly identifying issues and recommended best practices for that, okay? So you have to have that hands-on time with small to moderate-sized networks, and what I mean by small to moderate-sized networks is somewhere around, I don't know, 10, 12 routers, 6, 7 switches, something like that, maybe 6, maybe 4 switches and 5 routers, somewhere around there should maybe be okay. But usually they're even bigger than that. In fact, here's a couple topologies. These are just from Google. They're not proprietary whatsoever. This guy over here is from Cisco Learning Labs. I'm going to talk to you about that in a moment. But you can see, let's see, we've got 3, 6, 9, 12, 15 routers in this guy. So That's one of the topologies from Cisco Learning Labs. And then in this one, we've got 4, 6, 7, 8, 9 routers and 2, 3, 4, 5 switches. So just depending on what you're doing, you know, it's not going to be 2, 3 routers like it was in the previous courses, right? In route, of course, you did have several routers, but they make you know route and switch, and you should have done those. Like I said, I can't stress it enough, before you got here, because they're going to put that to the test. As Gerald Butler says in 300, we're going to put that to the test, right? So anyway, yeah. All right, so here's the thing. One of my favorite quotes is, "Chance favors the prepared mind." So, and that's by Louis Pasteur. And I wish I would have wrote that, but I didn't. Chance favors the prepared mind. So prepare, be prepared, do the videos, do what we recommend for exercise and practice, and you will earn this certification. So for those of you, this is your last exam and course to go, and you've already passed the other ones, I'm going to give you a big round of applause, because that in and of itself is no short feat. However, you know, we all know that this is the one that's going to put you over the edge, get you that additional professional level certification, which, you know, basically puts Cisco's stamp of approval on you to play with the big dogs and the big boys for routers and switches, work in the enterprise space, and understand all the different technologies that go into Cisco route and switch networks, maintaining and troubleshooting, all that kind of stuff. So, all right, here's your options. Everything I do in GNS3, I'm going to use GNS3 for 95% of the labs in this class. The reason is GNS3 is a free framework. It is not free completely, and here's why. In order to use GNS3, you need Cisco iOS software. In order to get that Cisco iOS software, you need to purchase some used Cisco equipment, like a 3700 router that has an integrated switch module. You need to purchase one at least, get the iOS software off that, and use it for GNS3. That makes you legal to use GNS3. The other option, and plus GNS3 doesn't do full switches. You can do ether switch modules, which is a module that goes in your routers, okay? But you can't, you know, the ASICs is not supported in GNS3. ASICs is hardware, but you can do ether switch. There is some things you can't do. So I do highly recommend at this level, if you don't already have lab gear at home, buy yourself 3 or 4 switches. I mean, it's $1,000, you know, $400 investment, $1,000 max for a complete nice lab. And at this level, I mean, you're talking about what, 80, 90,000 salary base for a CCNP certification. So it's worth the investment, all right? So do yourself a favor and get you some of these. I recommend these 3750s. They've got PoE, they've got layer 3 image, I mean, all that stuff. And these are WS 3750 24 PS-E. And they'll do anything you need to do in Cisco in the CCNP curriculum, right? And then you can also use them for everything else. But the switches is one of those things that, you know, you need to get extra switches. And you get you a 37 router and 3U switches, $300, $400. That's on the low end. You've got a full CCNP lab. You can practice 24/7. Cost you $400 forever. You can practice 24/7. NIL Labs, it has a full topology. This is real equipment, and it's running 24/7 as well. But they're going to charge you $760 a week. You have 24/7 access to it, but it's $760 for a week. So between buying used equipment and using NIL, but NIL I think does give you the workbook for $760, so that's pretty nice. I am going to make the GNS3 lab files available on my site, chrisavance.com, on the blog I have. That's for all the courses that I do here. And the other option is Cisco Learning Labs. This is all virtual-based using VM IOU, Cisco IOU images. So it's Cisco iOS software designed to run on Linux. And that's available 24/7. You get, I think, 90 hours or 25 hours, 90-day lab access time for $75. It's a great little 75. I think it's worth $75 for sure compared to this other stuff. But if you're going to buy the hardware and you got GNS3, spend the $400. Then you've got your own stuff. You can do whatever you want with it. You're not going to have to worry about breaking stuff at work, and you're good to go. With all that being said, I'm so excited to get this started because I know you guys I know that feeling of being right on the edge of earning a professional level certification from Cisco. I know what that's like, and I know what it's like to walk out of the Pearson VUE Testing Center with that paper in your hand going, I've done it. I have completed a professional level certification from Cisco, and I've probably lost a lot of hair in the process, but the future's so much brighter now. So my goal is to be as big of a part of that and help you as much with that as I can. And so let's get started. Let's just dive right in. I'm looking forward to it.